Here we go. Starting everything up.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Yes. Yes. And we should have audio now. I think everything should be okay. Please. Yeah, guys, give me a check in the chat. You guys can hear us, right? No BS, no bullshit. We can go forward. I want to wait for the people.
Audio's good.
Audio's good. Audio is good.
My levels down, Kool-Aid. Make sure all the levels are good. It just looks high. I don't want to be in too loud.
All right, we're good. Jesus, thank goodness. My goodness. It's Victory Monday. It's Victory Monday. I got a ski mask on. Yeah, I don't give a damn. I really don't. You know why? Because I'm over it. All those times being a Lions fan, having rookie quarterbacks, young quarterbacks, have career games against the Detroit Lions, all that shit's over with. And the last 3 weeks, you've had Desmond Ridder, Jordan Love, Bryce Young. All look terrible. Against the Detroit Lions? What? You're not... so this isn't Sam Darnold? Right? Throwing a pick six and then coming back and destroying the Detroit Lions. This isn't Mitchell Trubisky? Who used to just...
every single time.
Who just picked apart the Detroit Lions and Patricia's defense? This is different? It's different. And it's Victory Monday. We're going to break it all down today. A lot to get to. I know we're kind of a little late to the show, but we'll go a little after for you guys. A lot of storylines to cover. I was going to spend a little time and crap on the Cowboys from last night, but you know what? Regardless, we'll move on from that. There's not really much to discuss. But I'll tell you what, though, Sam Flannel.
Yes.
And by the way, we got Sam Flannel with us. All right, I'm just ready to get right into it. Kool-Aid hanging out with us in the audio booth, holding it down for JB. And then, of course, Lucas Klotz, the man, the myth, the legend. No cameras, though, but we'll work through it. We'll work through it. We got audio. That's all that matters. Guys, what a damn win. What a statement. And not a statement meaning like this Panthers team is some great team. But you know what? I was told this could be a trap game.
Ooh.
I was told that this game could sneak up on the Lions, and the Lions might get too big for their britches. They didn't, Sam Flannel. They walked all over the Panthers. That Lion, they destroyed them. And another thing, too, to take away, and I want to say this before we get into our takeaways, because that's really all that matters. You did it without Brian Branch. You did it without Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I was worried about if he were to get injured this season. Who would step up? Well, they got guys who are stepping up. Josh Reynolds stepped up. Sam Laporta, 2 tutties. I mean, there's a lot of players to go through and name, but I just want to go through the injury report that came out before yesterday's game. And you think about the guys that were out. Emmanuel Mosley played, 2 plays and was hurt.
Yeah.
Jerry Jacobs stepped right in. You didn't really see much of a drop-off. You already didn't have, like I said, Brian Branch, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Levi Onwuzurike didn't play. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's not there. James Houston's not there. Carolina Panthers still got walked all over, and it's a great Victory Monday, Sam Flannel.
Oh, yes. And there's only one thing to do on a great Victory Monday, because you know what? I know it's the Carolina Panthers. I know it's a game that the Lions were supposed to win, but this is what good teams do. They beat the teams that they're supposed to beat. They don't use injuries as an excuse, and they got it done. So, on this wonderful Victory Monday, let's put our Kool-Aid in the air and commence chugging. Why don't we?
Oh, no. This is an annual thing. Okay. And by the way, when Sam first started doing this, I thought you were just taking a sip, but I learned that, no, he just sits there and chugs it. So you're going to have to watch. There you go.
Looking like he's straight out of Mardi Gras.
Yeah,
Big win for the Saints yesterday in Foxborough.
The chest hair's hanging out. Oh, okay. All right.
Get it. You gotta get more in the air.
Why are you chugging it so
Breathe.
slow? Why? Yeah. What?
You gotta put bottoms up.
Inhale
bottoms
it,
up
Flannel.
with it.
This is like the most anticipated, like. Well, okay.
You're almost there.
Come on. All right.
85% down. There it is. There it is.
All right.
There
just
it
get
is,
there. There you
Flannel.
go. All right. There you
Wow.
go.
You know, on an ordinary day, I probably wouldn't even be able to do that, but you know, I'm still hyped up about the victory from yesterday.
He's in pain.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what, Jeff, though? You mentioned something about overcoming injuries, and I mentioned something about overcoming injuries. You mentioned this early on in your prep, and I want to get to it right away. Jahmyr Gibbs, the clear RB2 on this team, a guy who has been a valuable contributor, the number 12 overall pick. He goes out. What do the Lions do? They rush for 159 yards and 3 touchdowns on 5.3 yards per carry. David Montgomery gives the Lions his most efficient game of the season with 109 yards, a touchdown on 19 carries, and a 42-yard touchdown run. This is something that David Montgomery, I didn't really know he had in him. That's kind of been his Achilles heel throughout his career. He doesn't have a ton of explosive big plays, but he had one that day. And Craig Reynolds, of all people, gives you 52 yards on 7 carries for a touchdown. Stepped up when he was needed. So the running game looked just fine with Jahmyr Gibbs out. What about with Amon-Ra St. Brown out? Amon-Ra St. Brown is objectively your best offensive player. That was the injury that gave me a little bit of cause for pause. Like, maybe this could be a trap game. But you know who stepped up? Josh Reynolds. 4 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. He led the team in receiving yards for the 3rd time this season. 3 out of 5 games, Josh Reynolds has led the team in receiving yards. And, of course, Sam Laporta with 2 touchdowns, continuing his historic rookie season. Shout out Lucas Klotz. Damn it, you look like a prophet right now. I'll tell you what, though, Sam Laporta, his 1,000-yard pace is actually kind of slowing a little bit with that game, but he still played a hell of a game. Khalif Raymond gave you 3 for 45. Marvin Jones, of all people, welcome to the season. Marvin Jones gave you 2 receptions for 22 yards. The offense did not miss a beat. And even Brian Branch was out. I think it is a loss that kind of hurt the Lions a little bit, but still. The secondary stepped up, at least to the point where they did well enough to win. They weren't perfect, but still, Jerry Jacobs with his 3rd interception of the year. Will Harris, of all people, he got burned a couple of times, but he had 9 tackles, a pass deflection, a quarterback hit, and a fumble recovery. Cam Sutton and Kirby Joseph did their job, and so did Tracy Walker. So this is a team that can overcome injuries. It's easier to overcome injuries when you're at home against an inferior team, but they didn't use that as an excuse. They went out, they got the job done, and they won the game convincingly, which is exactly what the Lions were supposed to do. There are no trap games anymore with the brand new Lions. They don't overlook anybody. They just go out and beat down opponents that they're supposed to beat down. I love it.
And Sam, the thing that's different to me, and this is what we talked about this last Friday, excuse me, after the Packers game, when I mentioned that it's a new era for Detroit Lions football, and I wasn't kidding when I said that. And the reason why I said it is because my eyeballs don't lie, and I'm seeing it's not even just the talent on the field, it's the coaches. It's who they have in-house, the ownership, how they win, how they're built. There's so many things that you look at this Detroit Lions team, and we've seen runs like this. I mean, Jim Schwartz, they were 5-0, I believe. And even then, it looks like a team that can do this and sustain it.
Sure.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that's interesting, too.
Sorry, I fixed the audio for everybody that was saying with the channel stuff. They're like, it's only in the right.
Oh, that's
Hey,
W.
the audio should be perfectly normal now.
No, it's there you go. All right, W for Lucas. Put the W's for
Sorry,
Lucas.
I got really
man.
excited there, boys. I was stressing
That's a
over
big
that.
one.
No, good.
No, you're good. I appreciate
Shout
you,
out
Lucas,
Lucas.
holding it down.
Shout out
man.
Lucas.
But yeah, it's just how they win is different. Now, when you see games like this, and I know Lions fans typically, at least in our lifetime, you like to think, well, the Panthers could be a sneak-up game. Well, is it a trap game? If you're that team, and this is what I said, and Neil Rule kind of said it as well, and I actually agree with him. If you're that team, a team that we think is one of the better teams in the NFC, this is not a trap game. The Buccaneers are more of a trap game, an actual good football team that's playing better than they probably should be playing. The Panthers are just bad. They're just bad. And you had them at home, and the Lions, they let the Panthers know, yeah, there's a talent difference here,
Sure.
especially offensively. Now, for Bryce Young, he is a rookie quarterback. He has not cleared 20 points as a starting quarterback. He just did yesterday. But that's all garbage time points. At one point, it was, 42-10.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to, act like they scored a bunch of garbage yards and I'm going to give flowers to the Panthers. The Lions took control of that football game. They played complimentary football. And you're seeing that over the last couple of games. All 3 turnovers for the Lions ended in scores.
Ooh, yeah.
That's complimentary football. You get a turnover, they all ended in 7. That's something that, we've been talking about, at least early on, that it was usually the defense had a really great game or the offense had a really great game. And then you saw the last 2 weeks, both of them play together. And again, this is a team that I still believe can beat anybody in the NFL. Now, you watched the 49ers last night. There's tiers to this. They're the best team in football, in my opinion. But the Lions, after the 49ers, to me, the Lions, I think, could beat anybody anywhere because of how they play, their offensive line, their defensive line. That travels, Sam Flannel. I talked about that last week. You have an offensive line like that, I mean, even Brian Burns, a couple quarterback hits, had a sack, but even Carolina, pretty good defense. They put 40 on them.
Sure.
Offense can travel with how they play, Sam Flannel. If you got a defensive line like that, with Aiden Hutchinson doing that, and then you have a secondary who's capitalizing on mistakes, which, trust me, I'll get to some of those secondary players later. Jerry Jacobs. And I got some interesting stats on Jerry Jacobs I want to bring up, and I was going to wait to do that, but F it. If you had the Jerry Jacobs...
let me get all that. Yeah, sorry, let me...
No, basically, Jerry Jacobs is doing things that only Darius Slay has done, at least in the last 2 games. And I'll tell you what that is later on. But this defense and how they're playing Sam Flannel, them getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, they haven't allowed a single 100-yard rusher this year. Not a single. They had 99 yards rushing. And, all that, even the 99 yards rushing, you actually watched the game, they couldn't run the ball. And I told you, 2.9 yards per carry, Miles Sanders was coming to town. I said that. And it played out that way.
Mid-Sanders.
So, Mid-Sanders, yeah. So, you know what? This isn't a win. I'm going to sit here and say, what a statement for the Lions. But it is something they had to do. This is like, for example, the 49ers last week. They faced the Cardinals. The Cardinals who upset the Cowboys. 49ers put 35 on them.
Sure.
Like, if you're that team, Sam Flannel, you just got to be the team that's worse. And they did it.
Well, aren't you so glad that they went out and they left no doubt in that game pretty much from start to finish? I heard some people say that it could be a trap game. All the injuries that the Lions have, but something that we've all said, something that's been said on all the shows is that if you're that team, you cannot lose that game. And what is one of the hallmarks of good teams? Beating the teams that you're supposed to beat. And then down the road, we can worry about stealing some wins that where maybe the Lions aren't favored. But I'll tell you what, the Lions are going to be favored in most of their games, and they are, I would say, bordering on being a Super Bowl contender. More on that later. I mean, you mentioned the San Francisco 49ers. I wouldn't bet against the Lions at least beating them at home. Going to San Francisco, that would be a little bit tough. The Philadelphia Eagles as well. But for the most part, I think the Lions could, in any given day, beat any team, anywhere. And it's amazing to watch. How often, basically, even in my lifetime, your lifetime, Lucas's lifetime, Kool-Aid's lifetime, how often have we been able to watch consistent, I would say, stress-free Lions football, where you just know they're going to win? It was another one of those games yesterday. I mean, even you young fellas, Lucas and Jeff.
You saying JP?
I say JB. You guys, how many times have you guys got to watch stress-free Lions football?
Very rare.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only game that I can really remember just being stress-free for 4 quarters was last year against Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Or maybe I remember there was one year where the Chiefs were absolutely fucking awful. And this is like when I first started becoming a Lions fan, and the Lions dog-walked them like 42-10. That was the only time.
And the difference is, even through like some of those Caldwell years, is there was games where it was stress-free. I mean, even with Jim Caldwell, and sometimes this lack the clock management or lack thereof, you're maybe stressed out. But for me, the season with Caldwell, I was stressed because you'd start good, you go on a losing stretch, and then you get panicked. Like it was an interesting season, a bunch of storylines because you're worried about how the season's going to go. I don't think the season will fall apart. Like that's what stress-free to me means. Like I'm not worried. Like they're 4-1 and they're a good football team. I don't see them going 1-4 all of a sudden. You know what I mean? That's how I felt at times with Caldwell.
Like,
that stretch coming?
With Schwartz, I believe it was with Schwartz, or it could have been with Marinelli, where they started like 4-0, 5-0, and then it was after that.
Yeah, like same thing. It's not just Caldwell, but I've experienced that with different head coaches. Yeah. This feels different. This feels like they're going to be 4-1. I think they're going to win the NFC North. They're not going to lead the NFC North and then throw it and come in second. I don't believe that's going to happen. They're just too good of a football team. They're too well coached. And again, you got a play caller who just continues to impress. Like Ben Johnson. I
think everybody that said he was being a conservative play caller going into last week, everybody he doesn't look the same. The offense isn't as explosive. I think they can shut up now.
Ooh. Yeah, well, and that's the thing, right? You're 5 games into the season. Like Ben's not going to, show all his cards.
No,
he's still a lot of things. I mean, you talk about the injuries and the depth on this team. And that's another reason why Sam Flannel, I believe it is different. Like the depth they have. Will Harris, I know we give him a lot of, at least Lucas personally, but we all kind of say like you don't want to see Will Harris out there week to week.
We need to give him his flowers today.
But again, like for a guy that was sitting back there ready to play, they needed him. He was called upon. And he didn't play bad. So guys that you can count on. Emmanuel Mosley was supposed to have his big, at least comeback game, and you got to see a whole game with him. He was injured. Well, guess who stepped up right away? Jerry Jacobs.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. That's what good football teams do, Sam Flannel.
Yep, and what do we always talk about? This team has depth. This team can withstand a couple injuries or so. They don't use that as an excuse. And that was one of the that was one of the things that I enjoyed most about yesterday. Just a nice, easy win despite the injuries. Even the ones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mentioned it before. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a type of injury where I think a lot of us would have been just kind of like, oh my God, Amon-Ra's not playing. Maybe we could even lose to the Panthers. Not even close. Josh Reynolds and Jared Goff just seem to have that special connection this year. I mean, Josh Reynolds is another one. We should keep giving him his flowers. He's on pace for 1,000 yards this season. He's been one of Jared Goff's favorite targets throughout his entire career, and he's stepping up big.
I think Reynolds is playing the best football of his career right now, and Jared Goff and him, their rapport is at the best it's been in they're both of their respective careers. Like, those guys are clicking. Like, even the drop Reynolds had early, he bounced back from that. And that's why
the next play.
Yeah, the next play. That's why I love it. They call him Steady Eddie, I believe Ben Johnson calls him, because he truly is. The other part of it for Jerry Jacobs, and this was interesting, and Lucas, me and you had conversations a while ago about Jerry Jacobs, and we're like, man, we got to start pumping him up a little bit because he's somebody that not a lot of people talk about. This was, I believe, last season or before this season. So we did a lot of content about Jerry Jacobs, and we're pumping him up. He shared the reel we made about Jerry Jacobs, and I DM'd him, said, hey, appreciate it. Wish you success this year. Go ball out. He responded. He said, watch me ball out. Like you better be locked in. Like, he already knew a year was coming. Mm-hmm. He already knew, and that's the confidence this dude plays with. That's why I love Jerry Jacobs. Like, he called his shot. He's like, you better be tuning in. Well, I'm tuning in, Jerry Jacobs, and so far he's only had one bad game, and that was against Seattle. Yep. Ever since then, Jerry has been somebody that is, before was an afterthought. He was an undrafted free agent. And you could say now he's a part of this future for this defense. He's a part of the future. And he's going to be one of those homegrown guys that the Lions, I don't want to say are fully responsible for his development, but a guy who was undrafted, came in with the coaches they currently have. Look at what he's become. Shout out to Jerry Jacobs. Big shout out.
Well, he was an afterthought coming into this season. I mean, obviously he was going to get some playing time, but it was supposed to be Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley, the bookend cornerbacks who Brad Holmes had got in the offseason, which Cam Sutton has turned out to be a very, very good signing. Emmanuel Mosley, unfortunately, looks like he went down again. Hopefully it's not anything serious. Prayers up for Emmanuel Mosley. But Jerry Jacobs has seized the opportunity. Yeah, he wasn't good in this Seattle game, but that's the thing. That's the life of a cornerback. You have to have amnesia from play to play, from game to game. And since then, Jerry Jacobs has had 3 interceptions, which by far leads the team. And the one he had yesterday, that was a pretty damn impressive play. It was a beautiful, beautiful interception, and it set up yet another short field for the Lions, which ultimately was one of the biggest reasons why they won that game. Jerry Jacobs, I mean, if he can come up with a couple more interceptions, just continue his solid cornerback play, he might be one of the surprise breakout players from this season. I would argue he is one of the candidates, at least so far, for like guys who have really, really stepped up and maybe played above their heads when they're called upon. The secondary has been ravaged by injuries this year, but you can't even say ravaged because there's always somebody to step up.
Yeah, and this is what good organizations do. It's called homegrown talent. That's what this is. Besides draft picks, which the Lions have a lot of those, but Jerry Jacobs, there's always a couple Jerry Jacobs, or a lot of Jerry Jacobs in the league for good teams. Like, you'll see a guy that they develop homegrown, somebody that either was a late round pick or maybe an undrafted free agent, and he becomes a key part of their foundation. Jerry Jacobs, usually in Lions pass, you don't see guys like this. It's just not as common. Now you're finding a Jerry Jacobs.
That's what Bill Belichick made a living off of during that Brady era. Just taking all these 4th, 5th, 6th undrafted players and you just give them a year. Like, oh, these guys are dudes now. Like, they're not Pro Bowl level guys, but those are guys that when the Patriots defense was just every year was consistently good. It wasn't a bunch of first-round picks.
Mm-hmm. That's player development. And then the Lions are probably at their best point right now. Now, look at this graphic. I thought this was interesting for Jerry Jacobs. And, guys, just to give you some context on what he's been doing over the last 2 games, look at this. Lions cornerback Jerry Jacobs has produced his 3rd interception over the last 2 games. He's the first Lions cornerback to log 3+ interceptions in a 2-game span since Darius Slay in 2017. You remember Darius Slay in 2017 too?
Oh, he was phenomenal.
Like, come on, like that. And I'm not saying Jerry Jacobs is Darius Slay, but this is an undrafted free agent, like a guy who was essentially written off. And to quote Geno Smith, he didn't write back, and he's out here bouncing back from the Seattle game. And Dan said he took that personally. And think about where he's at now. Like, besides Cam Sutton, he's your best corner. Brian Branch, I don't really count as he's just a jack of all trades.
Dog.
Yeah, Brian Branch is your second best defensive player, but out of a pure corner, strictly a man-to-man corner, Jerry Jacobs has been that dude, and he just continues to show up. So shout out to him, big time. Wanted to show him love. Because I know not a lot of programs are going to talk about Jerry Jacobs when they mention the Lions win, and that's what a shame it is. Let's go to break here. When we get back, I do want to have a conversation about how do we see the Lions, how do we view them, are we taking them as serious contenders? Do you have hopes or predictions that you think they can make it far in the playoffs? And I'm not saying the Panthers game does that, but through the 5 games, they're 4-1, and they're essentially a coin flip away from 5-0. So where are you at with the Lions and your expectations? Have they risen? Have they stayed the same? We'll talk about that when we get back, but first, I got to hear about our friends from Glorious, and I can tell you about Glorious. Let me tell you about them, because guys, after that Lions victory yesterday, how can you not smoke some of that Honolulu Blue from Glorious Cannabis? You go over to Dispo, you give the promo code, which I believe is Woodward 20, and you get a little percentage off. Man, go get some Honolulu Blue. Celebrate, because I'm telling you one thing. You're going to have a lot. You're going to be smoking a lot of these Honolulu Blue strains, because there's going to be a lot of victories coming in the future. Honolulu Blue from Glorious Cannabis. Check it out at our friends over at Dispo.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy of Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, learning street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
You know, you see a team that comes in 0-4, and the fans might be like, oh, you know, it's just an easy win. Certainly not. I mean, they came out and fought really hard today. Every game in this business, it's tough sledding, and you really got to show up and execute. So, you know, it's great that we're 4-1 right now, and we're excited for next week.
Yeah, that's the guy we can get behind. Yeah. Be 5, man. He be running that thing. That's everything. You know, we married run pass, run. You know, so to be able to get the run game going, it's big for our pass.
Sometimes when you get a bunch of great players, a bunch of good guys who are dynamic, it's hard to, you know, figure out where you're going to put the ball. I think Ben does a great job of being sure that everybody touch the ball so they can go showcase what they can do, and we can showcase who we can be.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink live this Sunday for the official Lions VIP tailgate party. It's at Eastern Market in Shed number 5, and it is going to be a bash starting at 9:30 a.m. until game time. The official Lions tailgate is back and better than ever. How would you like to pregame it with Woodward Sports and be treated like a VIP? Food, beverages, and entertainment all included. Get your tickets online today at bullseyeeventgroup.com or win some from Woodward Sports today. Just subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on IG, and direct message Lions VIP.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for being patient with us. If you could do us a favor, and I don't even know if we deserve it at this point, but hit the like button on the stream. Let's try to get to 100 likes. We're only 3 away. It helps, again, the show, the algorithm of the show, and of course, the network. So plenty more to get to for the Detroit Lions. I want to go and kind of shift the convo to look at a big picture. Where do the Lions stand in the NFL? Not just because, again, we try to look at these things in a vacuum and just look, okay, they beat the Panthers, break down the game. No. I want to take this thing and look at it across the NFL. How do you view the Lions right now? Because, again, there's a difference between what I think what will happen and what the Lions are, right? I have a prediction on how I think the season will play out, but from what I've seen from the Lions, they're a 4-1 football team. Mm-hmm. Again, a coin flip, in my opinion, from being 5-0 and some other mistakes. But that game was too close. You're almost 5-0. It's not like they got completely obliterated by the Seattle Seahawks. So, you know, there's context there. But where do you think the Lions stand from the rest of the best teams in the NFL? I'll say right now at this point, and we'll come out with our top 10 Tuesday tomorrow. So you will actually get the answer to where we have them. But the question is, do you look at the Lions as legit Super Bowl contenders? Are they in that class of an organization? Not just an organization, but a football team. I think there's teams you look at, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, they're contenders every year because they have Mahomes and Andy Reid. That's typically how I view the Chiefs. As long as they have those two, they have a chance. You look at, the Bengals, they're having a down year. They're probably not going to make it back or even close to the Super Bowl. So there goes one team in the NFC, or AFC, excuse me. Then you look at the NFC, teams that made the playoffs last year don't seem to be making it back this year. Giants and Vikings named two teams that I do not think will be back this year.
No.
You look at the best teams in the NFC, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks have had your number. They've had the Lions' number. That's a fact. Now, you look at the other teams, Dallas Cowboys, they look like absolute garbage last night. And
shocker there.
Besides facing cupcakes, they face an actual good team, and they get smacked around like a child. So
it wasn't Josh Dobbs this time.
No, it was not. It was the Brock Purdy, which, again, I wanted to get to, but we unfortunately did not. He's a stud. Brock was slinging that thing last night. But regardless, Dallas Cowboys are not they're not as advertised with old Mike McCarthy calling them plays. I'm just keeping it real. Not even just because I'm wearing the Lions hat. Just based off what I'm seeing, I don't trust the Cowboys. The Eagles, they don't look like the same team, at least in the secondary. Darius Slay got cooked yesterday. So I don't know what now the defensive line looks damn good. Jalen Carter had 2 sacks. Hassan Reddick had 2 sacks. Defensive line is I'm not going to say nothing about that defensive line, but the secondary looks shaky. But they're still good up front. But so are the Lions. To the Eagles' extent, I don't know. We'll see. But right now, they're still the number 1 team in the NFL in rush and being a run defense. They're number 1. So I think the Lions, because my definition, I've said this before, if you're one of the best teams in your conference, by default, you are a contender. Okay? Now, that's what my definition is. So the Lions, to me, are contenders. A different conversation would be, what do I think the Lions will do this year? But Sam, to answer the question, are they Super Bowl contenders? I don't know how you can say no based off what you've seen and based how they win games. Offensive line, defensive line. Those things, you look at the NFC, the Eagles and 49ers, those two teams that have elite offensive and defensive lines. The Lions are now entering that conversation.
Ooh, this is a tough one for me because I'm very, very happy how the Lions have played. This is Victory Monday. We should all be excited. I should say the Lions not only are contenders, they're going to the Super Bowl, but I can't do that right now. But here's what I will say about the Detroit Lions. They certainly, so far in the year, with that offense under Ben Johnson, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, the likes, the offensive line, everybody else, Sam Laporta, Josh Reynolds, are 4th in the NFL in points scored per game at 29.6, which is a better average than last year. And we were kind of thinking, could this offense actually take a leap? So far this season, it actually has, despite having games in which they've missed some of their key players, like David Montgomery and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They are 7th in rushing yards per game, 9th in passing yards per game, and 6th in total yards per game. So that elite Lions offense that we saw last year has just kept it humming. Ben Johnson is in his bag, and like I said, all of the players are really stepping up and having great seasons. And Lions defensively, they've even done some things defensively very, very well. They are 3rd now. Even their rushing yards per game actually went down yesterday after yesterday's performance. 3rd in rushing yards allowed per game and 6th in yards allowed per game. Their passing and their scoring defense isn't top 10. It's not quite what we hope that it would be. So here's the thing. The Detroit Lions are a damn good team. They have played very, very, very well. But the Eagles and the 49ers just seem to be on a little bit of a different level, with the 49ers being just like stratospherically good. Did you see the game last night? I know we talk about the Cowboys and how they're jokes and everything like that, but still, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be a playoff team, and the San Francisco 49ers just decapitated them yesterday. And the Philadelphia Eagles even, they went into Los Angeles and they kept their undefeated record going. Jalen Carter had 2 sacks. I mean, Jalen Hurts is playing better. A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift of all people is RB1 for them, and he is playing very, very well. And here's the reason why I want to maybe slow down on the Super Bowl train just a little bit for right now. The only undefeated teams in the NFL are the Eagles and the 49ers.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily trust right now, and it could change. It could change very, very quickly. The one hurdle that I don't trust I wouldn't bet the Lions doing is going into San Francisco, going into Philadelphia, and winning a road playoff game. Anything short of that, and I'm like, absolutely. If they never have to go into San Francisco or Philadelphia, I'll be like, absolutely. They have as good a chance as anybody to go to the Super Bowl. But the 49ers and the Eagles are the only undefeated teams, and I think they are the two best teams in the NFL, and that is who the Lions will probably have to tango with. Could the Lions end up having a 14-3 or a 13-4 season and getting the 1 seed? It's possible, but they could get that and still get the 3 seed. Honestly, this week coming up, and we'll talk on it more later, the Lions will be fighting for the 3 seed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, something that we never thought we would say, but I want to hold off a little bit on the Super Bowl expectations while still being very, very excited about how this season has gone, because the Lions have looked damn good. It's just you have to consider the competition that they might have to face.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm not willing to say they're better than the 49ers or Philly, but is it fair to say, Sam, but besides the 49ers, I think it's a pretty even playing field.
I mean, I would say so.
I think with the Eagles, it has to be.
The Eagles, dude, and if you want to go off, you can't go off record because the Lions they're a coin flip from 5-0. So I wouldn't do it. If you want to go off the team itself, okay, they have a better offensive line by like 1 spot. I mean, the Lions have the second, in my opinion. Eagles have the first. I think defensively, their defensive line, the Eagles have the better defensive line, but the Lions don't have a bad defensive line. So I don't think it's a far drop. The 49ers, to me, are the team, and not just the NFC, but the entire NFL.
Sure.
Like, they'll beat anybody in the NFL. But the Lions and how they play football and what they do best, I think, benefits them in a potential matchup with Philly. Philly, the first game I've really seen Jalen Hurts break out, at least in the passing game, and have an efficient game, and actually looked the part with A.J. Brown was yesterday. So, like, even the Eagles, and maybe that's a compliment. Maybe you could say the Eagles are winning, not playing their best football, which is still a compliment. Mm-hmm. I just don't see the Eagles from last year, the dominant Eagles. Is that fair? The 49ers are dominating everybody, so I get that.
Yeah, no, that is 100% fair. And as we talked about before, the Eagles' secondary looks pretty damn shaky. But do you know who does not look shaky? And I know a lot of people just hate to even hear his name. Jalen Carter is playing like maybe the best defensive tackle in football this year. And he has been probably, and I can't believe I'm saying this, you could argue that Jalen Carter has been their best overall player on that team, as valuable as they come, and he has been huge. And so the Eagles, I'll be honest, if the Eagles came into Ford Field, I'd pick the Lions, but this is where you have to, as much as you don't want to talk about record, the Eagles already have a 1 game up on the Lions, and I don't expect the Lions to go 16-1. I mean, I know that they might call me a hater for that,
but I don't expect the Eagles to go 16-1.
And that's a great point. So we will see how it shapes out, and that's why it's fluid. That's why seeding to me matters so much. I know it's kind of early to talk about that, but you can't just dismiss the Eagles as they don't look as good, but they've still won every game that they've played. And we already talked about the 49ers. The 49ers look like the Monstars this year.
They do.
They do.
And let's go to break here when we get back. I want to have a conversation about Jared Goff, because I think it's about time that we talk about Jared again, because this dude is...
Put some respect on him.
And by the way, I saw a comment, Jeff, is Jared Goff better than Kirk Cousins? He's been better. I mean, he's a better quarterback. That's the thing about these stupid lists, man, these this year rankings. No, Jared Goff is the second best quarterback in the NFC. I said that last year. And this year, you could maybe argue he's won. You could argue he's the best quarterback. Besides Brock. Brock's balling. But those two, man, are fighting for that top spot with Jalen Hurts. But Jared Goff's in the conversation. He's a stud. And we're going to talk about him when we get back from break. And I don't think we have any messages. So let's just go to break. We'll see you guys in a couple minutes. You're watching The Morning Show here on the Woodward Sports Network.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests, for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
At work, and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? Take your friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy Drink It and Live It. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win. Register at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy Cintron at your local Meijer store. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste. Look good, feel great, and be the best version of yourself with Cintron. Visit their website at drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
Jared Thomas Goff.
Oh, he gets the
You
middle name.
beautiful son of a bitch.
Okay.
You Ryan Gosling looking son of a bitch. I love you. I mean, let me just bring up some context here, by the way, for Jared Goff. I want to go through the last 15 games for the Lions dating back to last year. Let's do that. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Jared Goff of the last 15 games dating back to when the Lions were 8-2, now to this season. 8-2, 4-1. He has a passer rating of 104, 3,800 yards, 26 TDs, and 4 picks in the last 15 games. You know what the Lions' record is during that stretch? 12-3.
Take that.
Take that for data.
Take that for stats.
That's data on your franchise quarterback. Jared Goff is balling, and last night he had a couple throws to the throws to Reynolds were just on point. And in general, Jared Goff, it seems like it's getting to the point now with Jared where, you know, certain quarterbacks, you lose some weapons, you're concerned. As long as Jared's in that lineup, you have a chance. That's what it seems like at this point. He's playing his best football. And, you know, for Jared, he's always been a quarterback you can win with, not win because of. But last night, they won because of Jared. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. He played a clean game. What? Talk to me, Sam.
I don't know about win because of. A lot of things went their way. They had a lot of short fields. They did. I'm not. Are you really going to say that I'm taking away from what Jared Goff did? I'm not.
I just know if Jared threw a pick or two, we'd be having a different combo. So we're not. It's like we're going to fault him if he throws a pick, and if he doesn't, it's like, oh, the whole team won. No, Jared deserves a lot of that victory. Like 3 TDs, Sam.
Four,
including a rushing TD
with no Amon-Ra St.
Tell
Brown.
me who was more valuable. I'll wait.
Yesterday, you know what? Jared Goff was great. I'm not saying that he wasn't. You know what? I'm not even going to defend that because I'm not hating on Jared Goff. Let me give you my Jared Goff flowers right now because I've got some. I've got them all written down because I have too been very, very impressed with the way that Jared Goff has played. So when you look at him versus the rest of the NFL quarterbacks right now, he is 6th in completion percentage, 9th in passing yards, 4th in yards per attempt, tied for 7th in touchdown passes, 5th in QBR, 6th in passer rating, and is on pace for 31 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So by those numbers, Jared Goff is I would say definitely a top 10 quarterback this year, so maybe even top 5 to 7. I don't know about top 5, but still, definitely a top 7 quarterback in the NFL. And you know the thing about Jared Goff, too, that I've really, really liked, and I've heard this, and I've seen this, and it plays out when you look at the stats and when you watch the games. Jared Goff has been remarkably consistent. He has been very, very good, at like some level of good in every single game that the Lions have played this year. I mean, the least amount of completions he's had in a game this year is 19, which isn't bad, and that was in their 34-20 victory over the Packers. The lowest completion percentage he's had in a game this season is 62.9, which isn't bad. He hasn't had one game where he's had a completion percentage in the 50s, and that was in their 21-20 victory at Arrowhead against the Kansas City Chiefs. His lowest yards in attempt for a game is 7.2, which again is not bad, and that is his lowest, and that was also against the Chiefs.
Right.
He has had at least one touchdown pass in every single game, and his lowest quarterback rating and QBR in a game is 85.8 for the rating and 55.3 for the QBR, respectively, in the Lions' 20-6 victory over the Falcons. So he has never had that terrible game or that even bad game or even that mediocre game in which he has cost his team. He has been remarkably consistent. He's also had 2 games with a passer rating over 120, 2 games with 3 touchdown passes, 2 games with 0 interceptions, and 2 games with completion percentage over 70. And all of those games where I mentioned where he had his low moments this year, at least in terms of stats, every single one of those games was a win. And in the one game that they did lose, he led the team to 31 points. So Jared Goff he is having the best season of his career. He's at least on pace to have the best season of his career.
And guess what? We had this conversation last year at the end of it. Well, this is arguably the best season of his career. Well, guess what? Here's another one. And the interceptions are one thing, right? People, of course, he had to clean that up. But the Panthers, a team that, again, it's easy to sleep on the Panthers because they're bad. And Jared, they came in, he was locked in. And, of course, it's not all Jared, but the reason why I give him majority of the credit is he's playing the most important position in football. Now, the offensive line deserves a lot of credit. The run game deserves a lot of credit. Of course, you need receivers to make plays. But the way Jared played, the confidence level he's playing at, like, this is a guy that, again, I don't worry as long as Jared's there. You didn't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam, and even me, I was concerned about losing Amon-Ra St. Brown. Lucas, we had this conversation. Like, if you lose Amon-Ra, I'm scared. It didn't matter. Like, it seems like as long as you have Laporta, you got Reynolds out there, it'll be enough to win football games.
His best pass catcher out of the backfield, Jared Goff, put up 4 touchdowns, and I don't care that it was against the Carolina Panthers either. I really don't, because at the same time, that's not a terrible defense. It's not a good defense by any stretch, but they have some talented players on there. And not the fact that the stats that he did, but how efficient he was.
Oh, yeah.
It's just there was never a doubt in the game that the Detroit Lions might be in trouble. You knew every time. I think Jared Goff, he said it at the beginning of the season, and by the way he has played, he is entering his prime, and I 100% believe that the way he's playing. If you can go out there, and I can't think of that many quarterbacks around the league where they lose their number 1 wide receiver, their best receiving back out of the backfield, their safety blanket out of the backfield, and they do that. Mm-hmm. You can't name that many quarterbacks that can do it.
No, it's again, it takes a lot of experience, which Goff he does have a lot of experience, and that does benefit him. Now, this is a guy that was trashed when he was in L.A. and called a turnover machine, and he's broken. So I think he deserves all the love in the world now. Now, contract negotiations are a whole other situation. You'll handle that, and I've been consistent with this. For me to answer whether or not that I'm comfortable, and I'm not Brad Holmes, but I would sign off on them, extending Jared Goff. For me, it means everything in the postseason. That, to me, is how Jared's going to make his money. Now, if you want to extend him now, that's fine. For me, at least, I need to wait and see postseason results. But I can't really argue much with the regular season, Sam. Like, he's doing what he does best, and he's balling. Now, for Jared, and I saw this comment too, and again, there's a lot of people showing love in the chat because, again, a lot of people are on board with Goff. I see Brandon Katz mentioning that he hasn't had to play from behind. Why is that a knock on Jared? I don't understand.
He had to do it the whole last half of the season in 2022.
So, it's like he hasn't had to play from behind. Yeah, dude, he's scoring on most drives. Like, I don't knock him from not playing from behind. Now, the defenses for the Lions have not faced the greatest quarterbacks over the last 3 weeks. But Jared's playing offense. Like, his job is just to score touchdowns, and he had 4 yesterday, Sam Flannel. So Jared's playing his best ball.
Well, I mean, and even against the Seahawks, he definitely played from behind. I know he had that pick 6 that extended the Seahawks lead from 3 to 10, but still, he led the drives to bring them back and ultimately tie the game. And then in overtime, he never got the ball back because the defense let up a touchdown. So Jared Goff has played from behind. He's been very, very good this year. The one thing with Jared Goff, though, that I will caution a little bit, because we are all high on Jared Goff right now. He has been, especially since the last 6 weeks of 2021 on, his numbers look like an elite NFL quarterback. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I want to say, and not to sound like a hater, I promise I'm not sounding like a hater. For those of you who just kind of are like, oh, Jared Goff, what more does he have to do for people to get on board? I am on board, but also something else can be true. And it's not necessarily his fault. He still has not won anything of significance in Detroit. I'm not saying that it's his fault. I'm not saying that he can't. I'm saying he hasn't quite yet. Do I think he will this year? Absolutely. Do I think they'll win at least one playoff game? Absolutely. Do I think he will have something like 30 touchdown passes and maybe 10, 11, maybe 9 through 12 interceptions? Absolutely. But still here right now, that stretch that you talk about, 12-3, absolutely unbelievable. Unfortunately, it wasn't in a single season.
100%.
That's the one thing. I would like to see how it plays out this whole year, and then maybe we can talk about extension.
And the impressive part of that, Sam, too, is even though, and again, I don't like having the conversation or bringing up things from last season either, but it's significant because typically, and Terry always used to say this, as it doesn't carry over to the next season. Uncle T always said that, but you're seeing it. Like, it is carrying over. They're 4-1. This is a similar team. Actually, it's better defensively, especially, than what you saw last year. So for Jared, and how he's playing, is he the franchise quarterback? Right now, he's playing like one. Now,
sure.
I'm with you, Sam. I think a lot of it we have to base off the postseason. That's what matters, right? That's where you're trying to get to, Detroit. You're trying to win a playoff game. So you got to be consistent with that. It's easy to kind of get ahead of ourselves. But Jared Goff is doing everything he needs to do. You were in Arrowhead, down in that football game. What happened? Jared Goff was your quarterback, and you ended up finding a way. Brian Branch scored a pick 6 as well. But regardless, Jared Goff has been your quarterback on the road in Arrowhead, on the road in Lambeau, and he's won both those games. The Lions have, but Jared Goff at quarterback has played well in those games. So I don't know. I think he gets, it's an interesting conversation, but I do think Jared deserves a ton of credit for what he did yesterday. And he had 2 rushing touchdowns last 2 games, which is something funny about Jared Goff. The man has like 2 in his career.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, like shout out to Jared, by the way. A lot of love there.
If you guys, what would your reaction be? And this is obviously a hypothetical, but if next week Jared Goff gets re-signed, 4 years, like $48 million, would you be happy?
2 years, $48 million per year?
No, I'm saying like 4 years. I'm saying long
4
term.
years.
I'm just saying if they like commit.
Well, if they extend Goff, and this is just me critical thinking, if they extend Goff, that means they are more confident in Goff for the future than what Hendon will become. So that, because we've always talked about what is Hendon Hooker, what can he become? That's on the coaching staff to kind of evaluate that. And if they extend Goff, that tells me, hey, yeah, I think Goff is going to be better than Hendon will ever be. And that's, you know what, I'm trusting that decision. But if they see things in Hendon and they think, you know what, we can get this guy to produce on a rookie deal, then that's fine too.
Sure.
But Jared's playing his best ball, so if they extend him, I can't hate it. Like, he gives you a chance in every game, but in the playoffs as well. He's had a ton of experience winning playoff games. This is a guy who's won multiple, and your organization has not won one in my lifetime. So, we can't also get too cocky where it's like, Jared's not good enough. The guy could win playoff games, and he wins in Green Bay, which helps.
Yeah.
I mean, he won that playoff game in Green Bay with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson both having over 100 rushing yards. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. But no,
I'm talking about the last 2 games, but go on.
I understand. I get what you're saying though. The last 2 years, 100%. But yeah, Lucas, that's a very interesting hypothetical question. I don't think I could necessarily even be mad at that, even though if it were GM Flannel Sam, which I'm sure all you guys are thankful that it's not, I wouldn't be extending him right now. But if the Lions do it, at the very least, Jared Goff has shown he had some pretty good years in Los Angeles. I know things were insulated, but 2017 and 2018, if you look at those numbers, they look like numbers of an elite quarterback. But in Detroit, he has far surpassed anything he ever was in Los Angeles. When you look at the numbers, when you look at the eye test, when you look at just the situation he had come into, Jared Goff is playing great football. And I wouldn't necessarily do it, but if the Lions and Brad Holmes were to decide that's the right move, who am I to say anything? Jared Goff has been fantastic the last couple of years. Fantastic.
This one, Don Burr, Jeff, horrible take on Hooker and Goff. What's horrible about it? I think that was pretty fair.
Yeah, there's nothing that I don't think it was too opinionated either. You just if the Lions trust what Goff can be more than Hooker ever will be, then I'm not going to be mad.
I'm going to put faith in guys that know ball.
And
Brad Holmes does know ball. I'm not going to sit here and say, give me Hendon Hooker. But I'm also not going to sit here and say, extend Goff to a max contract before we've seen any postseason results. That's also part of it.
Very fair on your part.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact, but I also don't want to, kind of diminish what Brad and them or their plan is. They could plan on Hendon being the franchise quarterback, but to say that now when we haven't even seen him is ridiculous.
Sure.
To say Hendon's the future without ever seeing him is ridiculous. They drafted him for a reason, but we still don't know. He's just getting healthy. There's plenty of time left to kind of figure out the whole Hendon Hooker situation. But Jared Goff, He's playing his best football, and I think he deserves a lot of the love. And I know Lions fans appreciate him because how many organizations can go from franchise quarterback to franchise quarterback? It doesn't happen all the time, and you appreciate when it does. Like when Jared first got here, people thought he would just been a barrier to the next guy. No, it seems like he is the guy.
He has, at least for what he can control at this point, he has done what he can do to kind of lay his claim as being the possible franchise quarterback. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see how the season plays out. I want to see how the playoffs play out. But would I necessarily count against him delivering? No, I would not. And would I have said that a couple of years ago about Jared Goff? Absolutely not. He has proved so much, I think, to Lions fans, to the coaching staff, and even to himself over these last couple of years. His career renaissance in Detroit after getting basically dumped by Sean McVay Bay and having to watch his replacement go win a Super Bowl. The resilience and how Jared Goff has kind of bounced back and glue up in Detroit it's been a thing of beauty. Not to get too sentimental or anything, but it has. And the Lions have been beneficiaries of that.
Now let's go to break. We get back. I want to have the convo, and I've been just trying to I've been trying to, get ready for this mentally all night because I kind of know how this is going to go. But Jameson Williams, let's talk about him.
Let's talk.
Sam Flannel.
Flannel's
I'm
ready.
not smart. I mean,
hey Flannel, let's have the conversation about Jameson Williams. And we'll get Flannel's opinion, and we'll maybe see how this conversation goes. There's two ways this can go, and you guys will find that out when we come back. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness.
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Planet Fitness, guys. Man, after all the Lions fans been drinking yesterday, it's probably best to get into Planet Fitness. Work out that alcohol. I'll tell you what, you get to Planet Fitness, you sign up. It's $1 down and $10 a month. No commitment. Now through October 13th, $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. You experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, full body workout in just 30 minutes. And all memberships include fitness training. All that and more over at Planet Fitness.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Let me tell you about our friends over at the Academy of Warren, because let me tell you something. If you got a child and you want the most ideal place for their education, it's Academy of Warren. They got tons of features. I mean, you talk about a soccer field that can also be used for 7-on-7 football, basketball court, everything. You talk about the features they have for your child as well. Free breakfast and lunch, small classroom sizes. I'm telling you, they got everything. All you got to do is enroll them now, academywarren.net. Man, oh man, Jameson Williams. It was only a matter of time before we got to it. And you see that guy over there, Sam Flannel. Flannel Sam, however you want to. Tomato. But Jameson Williams had his debut yesterday. And just to give context before, people freak out here, 2 catches for 2 yards, 3 targets. He had a pretty bad drop that probably, it would have been a decent gain. And Jared even admitted in the post-game presser, which I thought was interesting, that he had JMO on a shot, which he had a dude in his face. The pass rush got to Jared, but Jared said he was wide open. He had an opportunity to hit JMO, but it just didn't work out. Only played 20-ish snaps. Before I get to my opinion, I want to let Sam cook here.
Okay.
And I don't know if you're going to burn the food, but I'll let you cook. Okay? And then I'll give my opinion on kind of, because I was going to say a couple things, but I'll wait on it. Sam, your evaluation of Jameson Williams, and is it too early to overreact?
No, it's not too early to overreact. There's nothing to talk about when it comes to Jameson Williams because, and here's the thing, I want to talk about how great the Lions played yesterday. I want to talk about how they're 4-1. I want to talk about all the good things. I want to talk about David Montgomery, the offensive line, Aiden Hutchinson, Josh Reynolds, Jared Goff, which we've talked about those players to an extent. I want to talk about Josh Jacobs. I want to talk about all of the players that stepped up in the absence of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Brian Branch and Jahmyr Gibbs, and even Emmanuel Mosley, a guy who hopefully he can get back, but it did not look good after 2 plays. I want to talk about all of that, but no. We got to talk about Jameson Williams, and I just don't know why, because Jameson Williams' performance yesterday was a nothing of a performance. It's just facts. 2 receptions for 2 yards. So now everybody in the chat that has decided to use the absolutely false trope of every time he touches the football, it's a touchdown, can kindly F off at this point. Please. And I'm not preying on Jameson Williams' downfall, I promise you. I'm just saying that I am not going to lie and try to act like he played some sort of great game. And here's the thing. Here's the reason why I'm disappointed in Jameson Williams' performance. Amon-Ra St. Brown is out. With Amon-Ra St. Brown out, and even with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the field, Jameson Williams is the most talented wide receiver on that field, both teams. Like Adam Thielen, obviously a veteran, not as talented as Jameson Williams. DJ Chark, not as talented as Jameson Williams, not even close. And it's always something with him. And think about this. With Amon-Ra St. Brown out, Josh Reynolds, who was a 4th-round pick at one point, his career high for receiving yards in a season is 618, can give you 4 for 76 and a touchdown. But Jameson Williams is like, oh, we got to ease him in. 2 receptions for 2 yards. Khalif Raymond, who at one point was undrafted, he came in as an undrafted free agent, gave you 3 receptions and 45 yards. And his career high for receiving yards in a season is 616. He can step up, but Jameson Williams is like, people are just going to excuse this 2 receptions for 2 yards away. What about Marvin Jones? Welcome to the season, by the way. Who 33-year-old Marvin Jones, who before this game was an abject disaster this year, caught 2 passes. One of them was a red zone fumble. He gave you 2 for 22, which, I mean, 11 yards per catch. That's the kind of the impact that you hope that Marvin Jones would make. But Jameson Williams, just 2 receptions for 2 yards. And let me just end it on this, because a lot of people aren't going to like what I have to say. Since 2010, from 2010 to 2022, think about this, guys. 20 non-first round wide receiver rookies had at least 800 or more receiving yards in their rookie year. And with Jameson Williams, it's just kind of like, and this isn't even his rookie year. This is his 2nd year, but you can consider.
What game is it? If you're gonna say if it's not his rookie year, okay, it's like his 7th game back ever.
But that's why I'm comparing him to fellow rookies. That's why I did that. There have been 20 that have gotten at least 800 receiving yards in a season as rookies, including undrafted Anthony Armstrong in 2010. Have you heard of Anthony Armstrong? Can I interest you in Jordan Matthews? He was able to do it, but Jameson Williams, everyone's just like, 2 receptions for 2 yards. Everything is all well and good. Let me look for another one. What about Chase Claypool? Everybody's favorite Chase Claypool. He was able to get over 800 yards receiving in his rookie year as a 2nd-round pick, but everybody is just going to excuse everything Jameson Williams does away as like, he was fine. Oh, I can't wait to hear about that block, because we want a 12th overall pick stock blocker. We want to hear about a 12th overall pick decoy. It's okay for me to be disappointed in Jameson Williams' performance while also being very, very happy about the win. I just need to see something. I need to see more. Is that fair, or am I completely out of bounds?
All right, so let me get the full context as well as Jeff. So you're disappointed in the performance, which is okay, which is after yesterday's understandable, especially with the drop. You're not writing him off right now, though, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you're disappointed in the performance, but you're expecting more throughout the season.
No, hold on.
Okay,
let me
Jeff,
get it.
Yeah,
Sam, do you know how many career snaps he's played?
I don't care about that anymore.
Okay, you have to.
I'm not good, because at some point he's got to actually be on the field and play.
You cannot care about Chase Claypool's rookie year stats, Jordan Matthews' rookie year stats, and then just ignore what's around it. Now, I'm not saying that Jameson Williams has not had a great start. I'm not saying that. I would agree that yesterday I was a little disappointed, not as much as you, but I was disappointed after that drop. But to just throw the stats out there and then leave off the situation in which Jameson Williams was drafted, whether it's his fault or not, he can't help the fact that he was picked 12th overall with a torn ACL. You can't hold that on him.
Okay, this is I love Flannel, because I want to just make sure you understand the context.
Okay.
Here. Do you know how many snaps he's played since debuting last year?
Okay,
and I'll give you a comparison.
All right.
106.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Do you know how many snaps St. Brown has played this year in 4 games?
How many?
250.
Okay.
Okay, so, and you talk about being limited, because that's a whole nother conversation, and you gotta think. You brought up Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond.
Veterans.
Do you know how long Jared Goff has been throwing to Josh Reynolds?
Oh my God!
And I'll let you answer that.
Jameson Williams, he doesn't have the chemistry right. Jared Goff doesn't trust him. It's always something.
That's a real thing.
But at some point, okay, can I just say this? At some point,
he's not gonna force feed Jay with the ball.
At some point, though, we gotta expect something.
That's fine,
and not talk
Flannel,
about how great he played.
You're not wrong there, Flannel. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong there, but Jameson Williams was on a snap count. after he dropped one ball, instead of crying like a little, like pounding out there like a bitch like everybody makes him out there to be. Yeah, he caught a screen, he got blown up on it, but he was making a difference on the field. That's all you. Was he not?
He was a nothing.
Okay, so I want you to go back. I want you to go back. I want you to watch David Montgomery's touchdown run. I want you to do that. So to say that he is a nothing, okay, he might be nothing on the statistical stat sheet, but when you go, okay, why do we have him on the field? Because he can block his ass off. And if he's not catching the ball and your wide receiver 1 and Amon-Ra St. Brown is down, Josh Reynolds is cooking, Sam Laporta is cooking, and you just want to keep burning the clock and keeping that lead, yeah, you're going to throw Jameson Williams out there. That's not saying that he can't catch the ball, but he serves a purpose on the field.
Look at this one. One Funky Lions fan. Kelvin is a GOAT. He only caught 60% of his targets one time in his career. J-Mo caught 66.6 yesterday, and he's a scrub. Y'all are funny and just need something to bitch about after a win.
That is the single worst thing I've ever heard in my life. 2 catches, like, what are you guys talking about right there?
What
are you talking about?
And I want to give some more context here because I didn't really get to share my take because I kind of addressed yours. But for me, do I think that because he is a damn good run blocker, but is that why you drafted him? No. But it is worth noting, though, that he does bring other qualities that are valuable. Now, the him taking off and having a big game, what did I expect out of J-Mo? 2 catches for 40 yards. He got 2 catches for 2 yards. Did I expect that? No. But there's a reason I said 40 yards. Like, I didn't think I think he'd do little to nothing. And I was okay with that because he was playing 20-ish snaps in him and Jared. Whether or not people like it or not, they have not had rapport built in an actual game. He had a couple instances last year. He had a couple of nice plays. But all this chemistry they've been building off the field doesn't mean anything when you haven't been tested consistently in an actual game. Him and St. Brown have had 2.5 if you want to count his rookie year, because really halfway through his rookie year he was taken off. 2.5 years of just consistency. Jared trusting him. J-Mo hasn't earned that yet. Now, the drop yesterday was not great. But again, this is something that I'm not going to freak out about. I don't think this, J-Mo has quite the runway the rest of the season, Sam. He can still turn it around.
Sure. And you know what? Honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily, well, I'm not going to say I wouldn't bet against him, but if it happens, I will be very, very happy. And he certainly has the talent to do as such. The reason why I brought up other rookie wide receivers is not necessarily, it's more to just kind of give the whole, I want to see Jameson Williams at least get to something in approximation of that throughout the year. I get it. It's one game, and people are like, I might be overreacting. I might even say that I am overreacting because the Lions did win. But it's just with Jameson Williams, people treat him like he's their son or something. He can do no wrong. They've become almost like J-Mo bots. Like, every time he has touched the ball, he has scored a touchdown, which was false before and it's false now. It's those type of people. Like, why do we hang on to this guy so much? He has been a nothing of a contributor for the last 2 years, and the Lions are fine.
Yeah, and 106 snaps. You're correct. And he has a couple TDs in that. But regardless, I just need to see more of a sample size, Sam. 106 snaps?
Okay.
Like, that's St. Brown had that in like one game.
Why?
And he's done it. He's done it. That's dating back to the end of last season.
Not to mention, out of those 102 snaps where they were last year, most of them were out of the I formation with Jamal Williams, and they were just pounding the rock. Like, they were never in a passing formation with Jameson Williams.
And that's
last
a great
year.
point. Like, and I'll ask you this, Sam. Jared mentioned it. I had him wide open. I couldn't hit him. The pass rush got to me. If he hit J-Mo, what would you be saying?
I would be saying great game. Okay, but
he was wide open.
Every other receiver in the NFL can get targets and catches, but Jameson Williams can't. I don't care that he was open and Jared Goff didn't have time to throw.
Whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that? I don't measure the stat board. Why can Puka Nacua come in and get 100 yards his first game? I'm not going to talk about the times he was open. It doesn't matter. Catch the ball. At some point, get open more often. I'm so tired of the excuses.
Sam, he played 20-ish, 28 or whatever the number is.
Ermanni St. Brown was out. How about we actually let him play?
Sam,
first game.
Sam, he was open.
Injury.
Sam, he was open. And for whatever reason, offensive line broke down. Jared got pressured. He didn't hit him. How is that J-Mo's fault?
Do you know who else is open all the time and gets targets and catches? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Josh Reynolds, Sam Laporta. But Jameson Williams, you have to give him credit for getting open. It's not about getting open, it's about making catches.
Has St. Brown been hurt, suspended, and only played 106 snaps?
Dude, you're giving credit for Jamison Williams. You're basically saying, you know what?
I'm giving you context.
If you catch the ball and catch touchdowns, I give you credit. If you have 2 receptions for 2 yards, I don't. But I'm the biggest hater in the world, right?
I mean,
right?
when you're not a hater, but
legend killer.
Hater is a stretch, but Sam, you're looking at this game and using it as the end all be all. Like,
I'm not.
You're like, man, and you're bringing up other rookie receivers and what they did their rookie year. Sam, he played. Take away the 20-ish snaps he played. He played 78 snaps last year.
I know, and I'm not.
Would you expect 78 snaps? He caught 78 touchdowns.
I'm not comparing it to last year. I'm comparing it to what we expect him to do this year. It's all of you people, and I'll tell you what, I tuned into a lot of the pregame show, and the man who was sitting right here, Ryan Ermanni, was basically just like, I expect Jamison Williams to get the first touchdown. I expect Jamison Williams to maybe get get 2 touchdowns. And then afterwards, it's almost just like, oh, I didn't mean touchdowns. 2 touchdowns. I meant 2 yards. Jamison Williams is fine.
Well, what about, okay, so Flannel, there's extremes though. There's people that were like, oh, J-Mo, he's back. Like, I was down at Eastern Market interviewing people at the tailgates. They're like, J-Mo, 2 tutties, 125 yards.
Yeah, like
if you were in reality, you saw that before the game, Dan Campbell was like, he's probably going to be around 20 snaps. That right there told me he's probably going to be in. He might get 2 or 3 shots, maybe a deep shot, but he's going to be out there probably blocking and running guys off, being used for scrimmage, or like behind the line of scrimmage in motion. Like, I don't think, like, if you thought Jamison Williams was going to go off yesterday, that's on you.
Yeah, that's on you.
Just on you. That's just common sense will tell you over watching football season, over the years, if a guy is coming off a leg injury, he's now coming off a leg injury in 2 years and a suspension in a game where it's pretty comfortable in the way it's being played and you don't have to use him, they're probably not going to use him.
Good thing they drafted him at number 12 overall. Though.
Oh my god.
Good thing.
There we go. Okay.
Well, yeah, you have it. He's played 106 snaps, and his career is said and done. To Sam Flannel.
Man,
not that you're saying the guy's trash, but Sam, the reaction you're giving after 28 snaps played, like, and he was open on a deep shot that Jared didn't get him the ball.
Ooh.
Jared said it. Jared said, is he lying?
He did Jamison Williams catch, did the ball get thrown?
Is that J-Mo's fault?
Sam Laporta was able to get a couple of touchdowns.
Because Jared had time to get him the football.
All right, but I am not going to just basically go, oh my God, Jamison Williams got open. He got open.
Isn't that his job?
I think you're allowed to be disciplined.
He got open.
That's his job. Get open.
His job is to make plays and catch passes.
Who throws the football?
But
Jared, he can't catch a ball. That's not coming his way.
But what about that one that was right in his hands? He's just like,
oh my God. Okay, all right, we're going to break.
Ooh, I might cramp it up.
No, we're going to break. All right, the J-Mos. I knew this would go this way. I knew it. I can smell it.
I hope Jamison just has like a 60-yard fucking house call next week.
Yeah.
On prime time in the flex game.
All right, but if he comes back with 3 catches for 12 yards, I don't want to hear any defenders.
No, it's all we're saying, Flannel, is like, I'm disappointed he dropped that pass too, but in the back of my mind, that was his first target back this year, and he was about to get his fucking head taken off.
Context
and everybody's like, that's a big play waiting to happen. If Jamison Williams catching that ball, he takes it. His head is fucking clean off. Like the safety was about to kill Jamison Williams. Should he have still caught it? Yes, because either way, if it hits your hands, you should catch the ball. So I'm not disagreeing with you there, Flannel. But to be lying on the floor, jumping all over the floor after yesterday, I'm sorry. That's an overreaction.
Like, look at this is what's funny, because if J-Mo's open, Jared said it. So if J-Mo's open, Jared has time and gets J-Mo, and let's say it's a touchdown, no one will be bringing up that fucking drop.
No, because he would have made a play.
Okay.
He would have made a play.
He was open, Sam. What is a wide receiver's job? Tell me right now.
His job is to get open and catch passes.
He plays a ball-dependent position. He can't make plays if the ball's not in his hands.
But at some point, if we go over the totality of the season, as the weeks go on, are we going to actually expect him to get some targets and some receptions? Or are we going to talk about his blocking and getting open?
Flannel, but he was on the field for 27 snaps.
Whose fault was that?
I'm not expecting it yesterday.
All right, we got to go to break. All right, let's go to break. It was a good segment. I can't lie, and the people are reacting to it again. You put a poll up? Are you disappointed with J-Mo's performance?
Well, yeah, I'll put it up real quick.
Are you disappointed in J-Mo?
If you say no, you should be in an.
We'll put it like this.
No, because I don't think I didn't have high expectations, so I'm not disappointed. I said 2 catches for 40 yards. Like, I mean, what?
And if he would have gotten that, I would have been fine.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, he got 40 yards. Hell yeah. I mean, I didn't expect much anyway. People that expected 6 catches for 120 yards and 3 TDs, you're cracked out. It was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. So that's on you for your expectations. But let's go to break. When we get back, we'll chop it up a little bit and get to what's trending with Lucas. But first, we got to hear about friends from Swiss Insurance.
Oh, absolutely. I'm probably going to need some insurance after the show, but that is all well and good. Do you have football on the brain? Fall ushers in college and professional football, and this year has already been pretty awesome. Fall is also a perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at SwissINS.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177. Swiss Insurance.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports Crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. Join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
All right, let's talk about Outdoor Equipment Company. Has everything, mowers, handhelds, and you can even get weed whippers. You can order and rent, buy anything you want, 0% financing. You can go to their site at outdoorequipco.com.
All right, I was a couple, seconds from running out on Woodward and getting hit by a car, but we're here, and I'm happy to be here.
Throw you out on the road.
Bye, Flannel. Flannel sending me out to Woodward. Thank you for joining the show. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We just got done talking about Jamison Williams, and if you missed it, well, that's on you. And if you're listening, you can always go back and re-listen on any podcast platform you get your podcast. Again, Morning Woodward Show. Leave a 5-star review. It's much appreciated. Let's get now into Aiden Hutchinson for a little bit here, because Aiden deserves some love as well. That's another guy. I mean, the guy, he's got to have the best hands of edge rushers. Mm-hmm. I don't know, at least and I'd have to really do a deep dive on this. And I didn't have time last night prepping because I focused more on just Aiden and putting him in the top tier of edge rushers, but actually him with his hands. 4 interceptions in 2 years from a defensive end.
Let me look. I think Lions PR put something out about it, but it's definitely, I think it was the most through 2 seasons, in NFL history.
That's insane.
That's something that when the Lions drafted Aiden Hutchinson, they never expected.
You got to put this man in a red zone package. I'm serious. Like J.J. Watt style.
Watt, yeah.
Yeah, like J.J. Watt style. Now, Aiden Hutchinson, the question I have is he in the tier 1 of edge rushers? Right now, currently as it stands, at least among sacks, he's tied for 9th with Montez Sweat and Chris Jones. Or Chris Jones is actually a sack ahead of. Oh, no, they're tied. 4.5. But Chris Jones didn't play 1 game. So, regardless. He's tied for 9th. The guys in front of him, Montez Sweat, Chris Jones, Nick Bonito, Myles Garrett, Leonard Floyd, Josh Allen, Trey Hendrickson, Daniil Hunter, Khalil Mack, and TJ Watt. All damn good edge rushers. Now, guys are having different, Khalil Mack second, but, he had it in 1 game. The question I have is Aiden a tier 1 edge rusher?
Ooh.
I would say this. Tier 1, I'd put Bosa, Micah Parsons, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, like those guys. And I'll say this, for Aiden, he's just about there. I think I need a little more of a runway to really make that decision, but if he's not already there, he's about to kick down the door. Like, Aiden is as advertised. And you look at, again, I hate bringing this up, but he's doing it with guys that aren't as proven, which is not bad. Again, Aleem McNeil's had another great game, and he's been the guy that we expected him to be before the season. So shout out to Aleem McNeil. But he doesn't have a James Houston, and he's still just producing. Like, Aiden, he's a stud. He really is. And I hope that man sticks around for a long, long time, because you look at some of the most important positions. To have a franchise edge rusher is most important. Every top team has one.
Sure. And
the Lions got their guy.
100%. And let's talk about players who actually produced yesterday. That is Aiden Hutchinson, of course, because Aiden Hutchinson, he had an interception and a sack. And you mentioned it. Aiden Hutchinson right now is tied for 9th in the NFL in sacks with 4.5. And I'll tell you what, too. I know that when you talk about interceptions in defensive linemen or edge rushers, it may seem kind of like gimmicky or random, but the fact that Aiden Hutchinson has 4 in like a season and a quarter or a season and a third is absolutely remarkable. And yesterday, I would say that his interception that he had yesterday was even more impactful than any single sack he's had this season. It set the Lions up with a 20-yard touchdown drive, which they, of course, went in and capitalized on. And so when I look at Aiden Hutchinson, what he's doing this season, I like to compare him to some of the other great edge rushers right now, because I agree with you. It's TJ Watt, it's Micah Parsons, it's Nick Bosa, right. It is Myles Garrett. Mm-hmm. Those are the top 4. I wouldn't put Aiden Hutchinson in there quite yet. But do you know where I would put Aiden Hutchinson? I'd put him right up there in like the Hassan Reddick tier, something like that. Because this season...
Which is a pretty good tier.
That is a pretty damn good tier. This season, Aiden Hutchinson has 4.5 sacks, which ties him with Chris Jones. I get it, he didn't play a game, but still. Being tied with Chris Jones in any statistical category involving sacks is a damn big deal. And he has more sacks this season, Aiden Hutchinson, than Max Crosby, Matthew Judon, Brian Burns, Micah Parsons, actually, the aforementioned Hassan Reddick, Joey Bosa, and Aaron Donald. And if you want to count his sort of game-wrecking plays, you count sacks plus interceptions, he's got 4.5 sacks and an interception. So in terms of game-wrecking plays, that would rank him at 5.5, right up there with Myles Garrett. And he is the only player, Aiden Hutchinson, in the top 10 in sacks who has an interception this year. So Aiden Hutchinson, at the end of this season, if he can get his All-Pro, maybe a second-team All-Pro, get his 15 sacks, get his maybe 100 quarterback pressures, maybe even get another pick or 2, I could see maybe next year it being all 4 of those guys, Parsons, Bosa, Myles Garrett, and who am I forgetting? It doesn't matter. Like those 4, and then Aiden Hutchinson being right up there. Is he there quite yet? No. But do I see him making it maybe at the end of the year if he continues on his trajectory? Absolutely. Absolutely.
And the interesting part of this, too, is Aiden's been up there at least leading the league, and I have to double check it now, but pressures. He's been at the top now since the beginning. And for people that are talking about me like downplaying his teammates, it's not even an insult to Aleem McNeil and them. It's not. Like, those guys are playing great football, but you can't really argue that they're not proven yet. Like, Aleem McNeil, this is a breakout season. Are you going to say he's arrived through 4 games? I think or 5 games, excuse me. He's trending upward. But it's a credit to Aaron Glenn as well, moving Aiden to him to really benefit from using him and moving him around from the left side to the right side, getting him in favorable matchups. Like, that's credit to Aaron, but also for Aiden, just for being ferocious. Like, the guy, every single play, it's not if, it's when Aiden makes a play at this point. So, again, it is what it is. This is the guy that you want to keep around for the rest of his career. And for Aiden, too, I think this will be the year that he could potentially, and there's a lot of talent, too, at edge, but be in kind of that all-pro conversation, or at least very minimum a Pro Bowl. This is the year for Aiden Hutchinson to get that type of credit. And, for people that are chiming in now, because I want to read some of these comments, because people like Mike Bell, Jeff said Aleem was mid last week. I mean, he's proven me wrong, which is good, but I was never going to claim he's elite. I didn't want to say that on the airwaves, but Aleem McNeil's been proving me wrong, man. He's a stud. But again, it's not like I ever doubted Aleem. We talked about him before this season, and we thought he would be one of the X factors for the Lions defense, and he's really proven to be that. Had another good game yesterday. Let's see. Future Death says, y'all should really screenshot this stuff y'all saying about J-Mo. Never seen fans of a team get a steal like him, and y'all just work against him like this. Not saying he's not a young guy, but he's on Smedia. I don't know what okay, well, Sam, you pissed off all the J-Mo fans now.
But,
so.
like, my only response to that is a steal based on what? He might prove to be a steal, but so far, like, based on what?
That's why people are having a little bit of pushback, Flannel, because we still have Jameson Williams' whole career ahead of him, and to be freaking out after a 27-snap game, I just think is a little ridiculous.
It could be.
Yeah, I think, like, I'm with you. Like, I wasn't jumping up and down about J-Mo's performance, but at the same time, I was like, Lions won. They really didn't need to use him. That drop is what it is. He didn't sit there and pout like a bitch. Like, that's what busts do. You drop a ball, you be a diva, and you don't go out there and impact the game still. He impacted the game where he could. That's why I bring up those blocks, because those blocks were critical, and they weren't throwing him the ball. So he knew he was not going to get the ball thrown to him, and he still blocked his ass off. That takes a lot of ego out of the way, which is what people say about Jameson Williams. Oh, looks like he doesn't want to be here. He complains. He bets on games. He really doesn't care about the team. If he didn't care about the team, he wouldn't be out there with that amount of effort. And I know that's not what you want to hear about a 12th overall pick. But when you have to have takeaways, those are things that you have to take away if you're going to take away the drop too.
Well, didn't Ben say, like, no block, no rock? Like, you got to be able to run block. Not that, well, that's not why you drafted him, Sam, but he does do that. Now, if J-Mo was missing blocks, not making an impact in the passing game, like, yeah, maybe there's criticism, but he's doing everything he can. And he looks, and Dan mentioned it, you just want to look at him and see him out there on the field yesterday, and he looks like he belongs. He didn't make any explosive plays, but guess what? He did everything else correctly. So, like, I don't know. I give him credit there. But we got to see it. I need more of a sample size for J-Mo. Sure. I do. It's the first game back. He played, 28 snaps. I'm not going to hit the panic button.
Yeah, and I might end up looking like a fool for all this, Jameson Williams stuff. But I know nobody's going to believe me, and people are going to take this any way that they want. I don't hate Jameson Williams. I hate the cult of personality that's kind of been made around Jameson Williams. I don't think he's earned it.
That's fair.
Okay.
That is fair. That is fair, Flannel.
Maybe I should have led with that.
Oh, you don't think?
Your intro state. Look, you did a good job with golf earlier. Remember, you were going to go. You were going to start off with the bat. You're like, hold on. Let me give him his flowers.
In the most nicest way, Sam, you kind of backpedaled there, but in a good way. Like, I was like, wait, hold on. Are you about to come at golf right now? Because we're about to have some problems. But no, you were very fair with that, Sam. So, again, you don't want to give him credit yet. That's fine. I think we all can agree it's a little early to overact and through 5 games. I can't really, especially for J-Mo. He played 28 snaps. Guess what? You got 12 games left. So we'll see a lot of J-Mo. Let's go to break here. We'll get to mailbag. Get your questions ready. We'll answer as many as we can here. Appreciate you guys for joining. Before we go to break, though, I got to hear about our friends over at Big Boy. Let me tell you about them. We good?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let me tell you about Big Boy. Burgers and chicken sandwiches, they're taking over. You head to Big Boy, you get their cheeseburger, delicious, by the way, or their pretzel bacon cheeseburger. Upgrade your fries. You go over there, you have dessert as well. They have it, Reese's Chocolate Peanut Butter Thunder Cake, or satisfy your sweet tooth with the Big Boy Funnel Cake fries. All that and more at Big Boy.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Calling all landscapers, this is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. So register today at OutdoorEquipCo.com, and even you could have DMAC on your landscaping crew.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
It's Planet Fitness.
Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
For over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference yourself today. Order online at fairwaypacking.com or stop into their steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks.
Get your meats.
Get your meats. By the way, I don't know if you guys can hear it. They're playing I'm Wanted.
Dead or Alive. The Deadliest Catch fucking
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's coming out of Lady Jane. So hopefully you guys cannot hear that. But if you can, who cares? All right, let's get into mailbag. And I want to answer this question. Sam Flannel, you were on the stand.
All right.
You're under oath.
All right.
Yazin, thank you for the $5. He says, Flannel, what say you regarding one David Montgomery? Jamal Williams still a better option?
All right, so I never said that Jamal Williams was a better option. I thought at the time that people were making a little bit too big of a deal of the David Montgomery upgrade. But I will say this. David Montgomery, especially the last couple of days, has been absolutely phenomenal. I love the game that he played yesterday even more than the one he played at Green Bay because he was able to break off that explosive run. And maybe, just maybe, he can get his average yards per carry at the end of the season to over 4. And I would love that. But he's been very, very good. He might even break Jamal's touchdown record. I didn't foresee that, but he's on pace.
Noah M., and this is more in your bag, Sam. He says, mailbag, Noah M. says, is it fair to ask J-Mo to have more than 43 receiving yards in 100 snaps?
Yes. It's like so far beyond fair that you can't even see that line at that point. Yes, right. It's fair.
All right. That's fine. David Witt, mailbag. No Houston, no CJ GJ, no Mosley, no Saint, no Gibbs, no Branch with a full-strength team. Is your opinion different on our Super Bowl chances? Yeah, well, David, it confirmed to me that you do what good teams do, which is even though you have injuries, you have depth, which good teams have depth. And Dan kind of mentioned that him and Brad planned for, listen, if we lose every single one of our starters, what's our plan? And boy, they got a plan. So Super Bowl, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not going to go that far. But David, yes, it did make me respect this team more. I'll tell you that. Because that's something that the Lions just never quite had. And they have it this year, which is depth. Super important. Let's see. That could be the difference, too, in big games. For people that are asking, I saw this question, and I want to get to it. This is a little out of pocket, but I'll still ask it, too. Certified mailbag. If you could only have one on the roster, which first-round pick are you keeping, J-Mo or Jack Campbell?
Oh. Ooh.
That's
a good one.
You have both, so it's not really worth the convo, but I don't know.
I'm going to say Jack. I think you can say...
Personally, how I operate is I'm going to keep the one with the bigger ceiling. I'll keep J-Mo.
Okay.
Because I think Jack, unless Jack is going to be Luke Kuechly, I'll keep him. But I think J-Mo could be, if he hits his ceiling, one of the better wide receivers in the league. That's what I'm basing off of. I want to hit home runs.
That's
and they've essentially won without both. I mean, Jack's been making an impact, but you still got linebackers.
They're developing him as an edge rusher right now. Not even an edge rusher, but as a Sam.
And
he wasn't even expected to do.
And I don't want that. I hate answering that question because I like Jack Campbell a lot. But if we're going, that's just how I'm consistent. I like ceiling.
I would probably say Jack, but I will say this, and we might even get to it more in the week, maybe not. The one area where maybe Brad Holmes, there's some question marks, is his first-round draft picks in the teens. I think there's still lots of question marks about Jameer, Jack Campbell, and Jamison Williams. I think that's fair.
Yeah. This question, too, hips. Mailbag, do you think the Lions will add a defensive lineman before the deadline? Well, I won't answer this because I'll be called, hypocrite. Or, if hips is asking it, then hips, you must assume this defensive line is ass, right? That's what that means. If you just want to improve your defensive line, you just have to think they're ass. That's what people told me. So I don't know if I should answer this question because whenever I propose an upgrade, I'm accused of hating. So, Sam, how about you answer that? Should they try and add another defensive lineman?
No, Jeff, you're mischaracterizing the people and you're mischaracterizing me. It's that you go out of your way every single Aiden Hutchinson segment to talk about his help. I just want to talk about how great he's been, but even today, you just couldn't help yourself. That's the thing. You just could not help yourself.
He's calling you out, Jeff.
It's always about he's doing it without like the same help as some people. We're not talking about help right now. We're just talking about Aiden Hutchinson. You always bring up a way. As you guys think I bring up a way to like talk about David Montgomery's yards per carry, I even did it in the last segment. You do the same thing about Aiden Hutchinson's help every day.
I'm just speaking facts. I mean, that's what I'm doing. Does Aiden have a Javon Hargraves?
No, he does not.
Does he have, another guy on the other side that can get you close to 10 sacks, if not over 10 sacks?
As of right now, no.
Okay, then I'm just stating facts.
Okay,
I'm sorry if it hurts your feelings. I'm just bringing it up. That's all it is.
All right.
I don't never want to hurt your feelings. I'm just bringing up facts. That's all I do. All right. Again, it's not a bad thing. I'm just stating the obvious. It's an insult to Trayvon and Kayvon. Those guys, I mean, come on. They can't produce even with help. So that's not more of a knock on them. It's not even a knock on the Lions.
Bring home Pat Surtain.
Yeah, right. Chili says, Jeff, quote, Hutch is playing with that trash Aleem. No, I do not say that.
He didn't say that.
I do not. Bum. I don't think any of these guys are trash. I don't. I've never said that once. I have not said that. Maybe Aleem could turn into that guy who's an all-pro and can turn into a Pro Bowler. I don't know. He could. And it looks like at least he's trending upwards, I'll tell you that. So, I mean, they're getting better. Jesse Adams, Jeff Lucas, you guys got any thoughts on your boy Shedeur Sanders running to ASU students section showing off his watch after the win?
Yeah,
what
I thought
a loser.
That was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm surprised Prime lets him do that shit.
Yeah, there's some maturity issues there with Shedeur. But luckily he has another year in college probably.
Yeah, that was utterly ridiculous.
Because isn't ASU, aren't they like 2-3?
Dude, they're bad.
Worse. They're like 1-4
or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, congratulations.
It was a game-winning drive off it was an extra or a field goal to win it, wasn't it?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, it's that's the type of stuff that'll make people dislike Colorado. I'm kind of already have crossed that line to where I'm kind of sick of them and that type of stuff. I mean, congratulations, Shedeur Sanders. If anybody else did that, it would be just like, why is Caleb Williams doing this at Arizona students? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm like hating on him for it, but it's just like, all right, like you just beat a 1-4 team. Like, let's relax here.
Yeah.
You don't need to be like, you can do what you want to do, but you can't like be mad when people are like, I don't want to see that.
Right. That's why, at least for Shedeur, it's that's kind of the persona. I mean, I'm not mad. The guy, he's gonna flex. He's gonna do it.
I mean, what are we gonna say?
Yeah, right. I mean, it is what it is. He's the one that's advertising and himself to the NFL. So that's how he has to kind of look at it. But regardless. We'll end on this one. Look, and I wanted to ask. I forgot the question's already gone, but it would have been funny because it does relate to something we've talked about before, and I can't find it now. Noah M. Does Aiden have a Frankie Louvu?
Oh yeah.
No, he does not. He has better, I think, than Frankie Louvu.
I don't know about that.
So Frankie Louvu. He does not have a Frankie Louvu.
I mean, Frankie Louvu's good. I mean, but
so Alex Anzalone's not Frankie Louvu.
Alex Anzalone and Frankie Louvu are right about at the same tier.
Okay. All right.
Disrespected Frankie Louvu. Like
Frankie frickin' Louvu, man. The fact that we had to break him down last week, I don't even know what. Jesus. Didn't even do anything. But he's a fine football player. Is that fair?
Yes.
Rhett Carlson says, mailbag, is Laporta a top 5 tight end in the NFL?
Without a doubt.
Yes. Yeah, he
Top one. Top one.
I mean, like,
he top
number
two and
one,
he's not two.
No,
this year.
I was going to say, number one, I'd still put Kelsey just because he's banged up and still making plays. But, like, besides Kelsey?
But did you see the game Kittle had last night?
That's one game.
Yeah, Kittle hasn't had a TD all year, and he hasn't been Kittle. He has. I know Kittle, we think of Kittle. That's the conversation. This is why I hate these, because is it this year or is it in general?
I'm saying this year, just because this is all you have to base off Laporta.
Then he's 2.
I'm taking him over Kelsey.
Okay.
Just off of production this year.
But then it's like
he's a better blocker than Kelsey too.
But then again you start having the whole. Is Brock Purdy better than Jalen Hurts?
Laporta blew a block for Montgomery to fumble.
Did you not see Laporta yesterday?
No, he was great yesterday.
When he boxed out Kenny Clark.
Great, and I'm just saying.
I'm taking my guy. I'm taking my guy.
Listen. I don't want this. No, don't do that. We're not dividing the room with Sam Laporta. We love Sam Laporta.
My guy. I'm putting my nuts on the table. Give me Sam Laporta
over Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's got a bum ankle.
Oh my God! You're factoring in the bum ankle.
Yeah. Does Laporta have a bum ankle? I don't think so.
And he's slightly distracted with Taylor Swift.
You don't see Laporta.
We love Laporta. That's why people are like, yeah, Lucas, talk your crap. No, like we love Laporta.
I'll take Laporta.
But we got to watch here on Overreaction Monday with some of these things.
No, I don't. Man had two touchdowns yesterday. After having another touchdown the week before, was it 2 weeks before? Another 4 or 5 catches a week before. Like, he's been consistent. Consistent.
Yep.
He can block better than Kelsey. He's been just as consistent. I mean, Kelsey's obviously had the higher ceiling games, but obviously Kelsey's out week 1. Laporta's there.
Okay.
Availability matters.
Oh my gosh.
This year it matters.
That's all I'm saying. I love you, Lucas. I do.
I love me too. I love Sam
and it's
Laporta.
crazy that like Travis Kelce's right behind him missing a game. Like that's like what's like impressive about what he's been doing. But we're
still behind though.
Oh my God.
Still behind.
Jesus. Okay.
Still behind.
Regardless, that'll do it. New Money. I'll end it on this. We won 15 of our last 18 games. We cooking. Shout out to New Money, man. Appreciate you guys for joining the show. And by the way, tomorrow it's gonna be not only a better show because of we had a little bit of a delay start, but we're gonna be covering a lot more of the Lions, and then we'll go around, do Top 10 Tuesday.
All right.
We'll talk about some of the NFL games. You know, I do want to talk a little bit about Brock Purdy. He's been balling.
You're lucky I won't be here.
I swear to gosh, it was this guy. And Lucas will be out tomorrow, but we'll revisit. We'll get back with Lucas. CJ Stroud, by the way, still hasn't thrown a pick.
Yeah. I won't know either. Desmond Ridder, I'll do with him.
Desmond Ridder had a good game, actually.
I'm not going to throw any shade at CJ Stroud. Like, I don't care that he lost to the Falcons. I really don't care.
Okay.
He's playing well.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Until tomorrow, we'll be back with another show. Big Day Energy 11 to 1. Of course, Ermanni and Edwards 2 to 4. Then the Heavies 5 to 7. And it closes out Woodward Nights 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Appreciate you guys for joining the program. Being patient with us, man. Just celebrating Victory Monday with us. It is a little bit of an overreaction Monday, but Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, JB, Lucas Klotz. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.